Hi players, bonjour from Paris. My name is Asaf and welcome to my channel Easy Board Games. Today, on my way of building my perfect collection of 100 games, no more, no less, we're going to say goodbye to 2 games and 2 expansions, and we're going to say hello to 4 new games that are arriving already to my collection. Let's start with the first game that is leaving my collection, and that is Burgle Brothers, the first one. So this is a pretty nice game, let's say cooperative for 1 to 4 players. Of course, you can play it also solo. And I had a pleasant time with it, but the thing is that for a very, very short time. So in Burgle Brothers, basically you're playing a bunch of burglars, and you need to break into different places in order to break into a safe, and then just need to get out of there onto the top floor where you will be evacuated with a helicopter. So the reason why I'm saying goodbye to this game is just because after a while it gets pretty much the same thing. The replayability here is not of the highlights that we have in this game. So really after a few times we just found ourselves leaving the game on the shelf. It did not see the light of day. So the first game that is leaving my collection. The second thing that is leaving my collection are actually 2 expansions, so let me show it to you. And both of them are expansions for Anachrony. So the first one is the classic expansion that you can see right over here, and the other one is Future Imperfect. Now, the reason I'm saying goodbye to these 2 expansions, don't get me wrong, Anachrony is an incredible game. I love it a lot. But I feel that with all the modules that we have in this game, I just don't use them at all. So the base game does come to the table. I'm not going to say too often, but it sees the table. But every time we're playing it, it's like, do we want to add something new to this game? And most of the time the answer is no. So I think that already in the core game, we have a lot of replayability options, especially if you're mixing and choosing every time a different faction. And also you have different modules in the core game that you can change. Maybe it's small relatively changes, but for the amount of time that Anachrony is seeing my table, I think it's more than enough. Also, because I have the Fractures of Time expansion, basically I bought it for the solo, but even there you have more modules that you can add to the game. So for that reason, I think that if you're adding finally these 2 games that in each of them you have more modules like the Doomsday or something like that, it's a little bit too much, because Anachrony is already relatively a heavy and a big game, so just adding more to it is not something that I would be interested in doing. This was one of the first mistakes that I did with the board games, is just buying all the expansions instead of just trying it one at a time. So after the core box, which I really liked, I saw a pretty sweet deal that included all of the other expansions, the Fractures of Time and also the others, and I thought to myself, yeah, I love like Anachrony a lot, so why not add already all the expansions? And that was a pretty big lesson to me. So as you already know, in most of my videos, before I'm telling you to get expansions, I'm always going to recommend to try and more than one time the core game, see that it's really for you. This is something that is going to hit your table again and again before moving on to the expansions. The last game that is leaving my collection, I think I'm going to take a lot of heat for that, and that is Endless Winter. So I know that Endless Winter is a super popular game, and if I'm not mistaken, the same creator has another Kickstarter on the way. I think it's in the last production phase, if I'm not mistaken. For me, when I just played the core game without all the expansions or modules that came with it, I thought to myself, something here is a little bit wrong. So the production was incredible, I liked it. And also when I watched like the trailer and watched a little bit like playthroughs, I thought to myself, oh, there's like a small board that is like a little bit Catan, you know, with all these small villages that you're putting in order to take resources. And also you have this thing and it's like a little bit of a deck building. But then after playing the core game, I thought to myself, something is a little bit off for me over here. I tried to add like the other modules, and then it was just like a little bit too much. And already just with the core game, I felt that there are so many mechanics that are involved in this game that it was just like a bit too much. And instead of just like enjoying one or two or three mechanics that we have in this game, I found myself drowning in everything. Also, it kind of surprised me that in the core game, you kind of finishing doing everything. And in my experience, there was a little bit too much focus on the hunting grounds that you're basically doing a set collection. So I think that Endless Winter was like a nice experience, but also another important lesson for me in Kickstarters and like adding all the expansions, because I think that today, especially if you're looking at secondhand, you can get Endless Winter, again, the core game, in a very, very reasonable price. And then if you liked it and it's coming to your table quite a lot, then you can try to add more modules and expansions that I think that separately you can still get a very good deal for it. So now let's move on to the games that are coming to my collection. And to be honest, I think that you can just see them on the top shelf, what I have over here. I'm going to mark them also. The first one is a super sweet deal that I found, and that is for Mosaic, A Story of Civilization. So I got this game new in shrink, the Colossus edition, for 110 euros, which is, for me at least, was a steal. I don't know, I saw that there are some mixed opinions about this game, but in any case, this is a strategy, a civilization building kind of game. It is a massive box. I think it weighs about, I want to say 12 kilograms, around something like that. So I know there's a lot of content and the production level should be great. Again, this is not a war kind of game, so not really like a clash of cultures. This is just like civilization, a territory grabbing resources. So I will be super interested in see how it goes and maybe compare it to different games like maybe Age of Tribes. So I think this is pretty much sitting on the same thing, I think. So I'm supposed to break this game later on, and for sure I will tell you how that went. The second game that came to my collection, and I think you already saw it in one of my last videos, and that is, I think it's here, Xia, or I don't know, let me know how it goes. So I got this game and all of its expansions for 175 euros, of course, secondhand. Most of the games that I'm getting are secondhand. And this is again something that I've heard a lot about, so I'm super interested to see how it goes. This is a strategy sandbox kind of game that takes place in space. So I'm thinking, oh man, there's already so many games that take place in space. I think that at some point I'll need to see from my collection what really needs to stay here and what is just a little bit too much, especially with a Voidfall on the way and also Fractal, something also with Void. So that will be interesting, but I'm super excited to break down this game and see what's going on and see if it's going to stay in my collection or not. The next game that I think is much more popular right now, and that is Lords of Ragnarok by Awaken Realms. I got this game. I'm going to show you the pledge that I got it. It cost me 220 euros, so a bit more on the expensive side, but obviously every time that we're going to have an Awaken Realms with miniatures that have sun drop and stuff like that, it's going to cost more. The levels of content that is in this game is just mind-blowing. You're opening the box and you just have cards over cards and miniatures, and I got also the playmat, so it really looks good, like all of their games. Personally, I tend to go more to Awaken Realms strategy games, so I'm super excited to see how it goes. I never played Lords of Hellas, so I'm also very excited to see if this is actually an improvement according to other people, because I don't think that if I have this one, I should have the other one, but we'll see. So this one, because their other strategic game that I liked very much is The Great Wall, that for me also was super nice. So I guess I'll have to see how it goes. I think that most of the chances that I'm going to do a how to play video for Lords of Ragnarok also, and a review, so I'll let you know how it goes. The last game that is entering my collection, and actually it's a brand new game in board game community, and that is Warfare. So it's a little bit special for me to see how it's going to go, especially now that we have Call of Duty Kickstarter on the way that surprisingly is not going super well. I mean, with an IP like this, I would have expected it to be like off the charts, but I think that right now there are even a little bit less than 170,000 euros. So I'm very interested to see how this one is going to play. So here what we're having basically is just like different modern armies from different countries that are going to be set on in a specific ground place, and they're just going to fight each other. What a surprise. It looks super interesting, and the Kickstarter itself was super, relatively of course, super small. I think that less than 400 backers by this wonderful Italian company. So again, I don't think that I will do like a how to play, but for sure I would like to present to you a review that if one day it will go for a reprint, or maybe you will just have the opportunity to get it, then I think you will be interested in that. So what is next in this channel for this month and a little bit the next one? First of all, with the cooperation of Ludus Magnus Studio, I'm working on a solo video for Black Rose Wars, the very first solo mode. So that's first of all. Then I have another video for you guys about Rurik Dawn of Kiev, how to play in a review. And also there are some games that I'm dying to break down and see how they go, like Wonderlands Wars and some other stuff that I received, and I really want to see how they go. And that's it for today. On my way to build my perfect collection of 100 games, no more, no less. Thank you for watching. See you next time.